Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you for inspiring this movement. Thank you for taking us nationwide. Thank you for helping us bring the Israeli-American community together. I'd like to start with the first question. And about 3.5 years ago, you came to Los Angeles, exactly at the gala that we have announced that we are recognizing the identity of us, instead of Israelis, to Israeli Americans. And you've seen something that inspired you. You're a visionary. You see an island, you create Macau. You just see big things 50,000 feet above. What did you see at that time at our organization? How are we doing so far? And where do you see us in 5 and 10 years from now?
I thought I saw 1,000 Israelis wearing tuxedos. I know you told me they weren't wearing tuxes at that gala, but I swear I seem to remember that. As I said last night, the Israeli-American community was out there by itself, not communicating with anybody, and nobody communicating with it as a community. But yet there was a community that just seemed to have been by itself floating around. But what you guys did, and what you and Sean and Danny and Yossi and all the other guys and Natty did in Los Angeles was commendable. You formed a what am I? Am I underprivileged? I don't have a mic?
We just wanted to make it easier.
I am underprivileged. He gets a mic, I don't get it. I want you to know that I was underprivileged for most of my life. I don't have to continue that way. Where was I?
We're talking about what you've seen at that gala. What inspired? Yeah. What did you see? You have seen something that is happening now.
I saw something that was a body. It was a body of a community of interest and people to go along with it. It wasn't bureaucratic. It was voluntary. It was passionate, and it was consistent amongst all the participants in the gala. And so, having an Israeli-American wife, I didn't see anything that attracted the Israeli-Americans together. And in the shul and in the federations, I didn't see any separate body of Israeli-Americans, just American Jews. And you know the way things are going with assimilation, which is that birthright is the solution for. Pretty soon there won't be any American Jews left in another 2 or 3 generations. And the Israeli-American community is unequivocal. Their love and their passion for the state of Israel and the Jewish people there is irreversible, and it's unquestionable. The uniqueness of the program you have, as opposed to just raising funds to do what the organization itself wanted to accomplish, was much more than that. The social affairs that you put on, like what you call the festival, the Yom Ha'atzmaut Festival in Los Angeles that attracts 15,000 plus people, that's an enormous gathering, enormous success. In Boston, where I was born and raised, and we still have a home there, I never saw as many as 1,000 Jews together. There was one ADL event that honored somebody, I forget who it was, at which there was like 800 or 900. That was the largest gathering of Jewish people I've ever seen. And so what I saw was a giant waiting to be born. It was actually born to be weaned and nursed and grown. That's what I saw in that event. And I guess my eyes weren't too good because you told me that nobody wore tuxes that night. I must have gone to about 20 or 30 Israeli weddings, and only about half of them in Israel did I see an Israeli wearing a tux.
Sheldon.
Where's your list of notes?
I
You
got
usually
it
have
here.
notes.
Notes?
Yeah.
So it's like an open book. No
You
notes.
are?
Yes. Today we are
Okay.
Today we are uniting the Israeli-American community like never before.
Can we afford an extra mic?
No, I have a mic right here.
Oh, you got it there.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
I'm done.
Sorry.
I'm fine. I'm organized. You keep the mic. I'm fine. We're reaching Israeli-American all over the country. We have recognized the identity. We're giving them not just identity, but sense of purpose and a mission in life. And they want to be a strategic asset for the state of Israel. They want to strengthen the state of Israel. They want to make sure their kids stay Israeli and Jewish. Where do you see this movement in 5 years from now? Do you think that the Jewish American community is going to be part of our movement?
There's going to have to be some work on the part of both communities. You know, how do you look at the body of the American Jewish community? Where is that body? Right now, that body is in AIPAC. So you had in the most recent AIPAC annual conference here in D.C., there were, I think 17,000 people.
Right.
There's no other organization that can gather that many people and have the American Jews stand up for what they're believing in. Israel is the glue that binds us all together. Now, he's already got a mic.
Thank you.
So we're not underprivileged after all.
No, we're not equal, but almost equal.
We just gave you some more money. What are you complaining about? Is there somebody else around that can give you 50 million?
No, there's nobody. Sheldon,
There are, but they're guys with deep pockets and short arms.
You and Dr. Miriam as the most generous and visionary of our time. I mean, you invest in everything that's becoming incredibly, and we are so thankful for you for seeing the potential and making it happen. For us, for the Jewish community, and for the state of Israel. We are very thankful. Thank you.
I think as I see the IAC growing, you asked me about 5 years. Normally, in business, I say to people that if somebody's going to tell you what's going to happen in 5 years, they don't know what they're talking about. In an organization like this, you could really say where it's going to be. I see it growing because the word of mouth from the people that have been here this third year now will spread out to their friends and relatives, and they will bring in others to say, look, this is what I heard. I think you're going to put some of the sessions on YouTube. You're going to put on social media. And those Israeli Americans that didn't attend will find that they could come and see these things happening face to face. And I think they'll want to come in the future. I see the movement of a movement. I see the momentum of this movement where people are saying, I'm proud to belong to this organization, whereas in the past, there was no organization. What you did in Los Angeles was amazing. You gave birth to a movement. And I only saw what you can do with it. Do you remember that night that we had dinner at Spago's?
Oh, I remember the one with Sean and Dorit, Gila, me, Miri, and you, where you said you see the vision and you tell us, go and do it. And we took your orders and we made it happen. And we took your money.
Really? Well, I better shorten my arms.
But what inspired you, Sheldon, you have to admit, is the fact that each one of us Nati and Sean and Danny and Yossi, we are all philanthropists, obviously smaller, but we are very long arms, and we are entrepreneurs. We are a startup. We're putting time, money, energy, and with your wisdom and inspiration, we make it happen.
With your very long arms, with your very long arms, you could reach into each other's pockets.
We are practicing.
Don't reach in my pocket. I'm capable of doing that. Listen, I think to create this sense of belonging will be very gratifying to every Israeli American. My wife won't miss an event. If there's going to be a singer, we have a very active and a passionate board council in Las Vegas. Almost everybody shows up at every meeting, and almost everybody shows up at every form of entertainment, what I call social networking. Whether you bring in a singer or a comedian from Israel or a singer's on a tour, the good thing about having many branches is that you could afford to bring in the top singers and entertainers to the States, and they could stop from chapter to chapter. As I said last night, you're not working fast enough to set up the other 4 branches, so you have 14. And next year, you could I'll give you a quota of 6 more.
All
so
right.
by the end of 2017, you should have 20.
It will be our pleasure.
Now, with the experience and the passion that's being shown amongst all the members of the 10 or 12 branches you already have, I think it will set up very quickly because everybody knows everybody, and somebody in Boston could tell somebody they know in Houston how fruitful the IAC in Boston is. And I think it'll be easy to set up the other ones a lot faster.
We agree. Everyone that comes to this conference come back home inspired, motivated. If he doesn't have already an IAC in his town, to create one. A lot of people actually approached me. They want to see an IAC in Houston and in San Diego, in Atlanta, and we're going to make it happen soon.
Well, I was thinking about this. I was talking to, I don't want to mention his name, but a very top member of the top couple of members of the House of Representatives. Trent Franks may have forgotten, but many years ago when Mary and I were taking over 200 congressmen and senators to Israel with AIPAC. Is Trent, you still here? Trent was on one of our trips, and I'll never forget him. I remember everybody out of the 205. And they came back from those trips much like they do on Birthright. Our own son went on Birthright. And our own 19-and-a-half-year-old son, he just went a few months ago, and he called us up, he called his mother after the trip was halfway completed, and he said, Ima, he said, I got to tell you, this trip changed my life. Now, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved in Birthright was because of the couple dozen trips that we took with the congressmen. They all came back and said the same thing. It changed my life. There were very few Jewish congressmen out of the 205. Maybe there were 5, 6, or 7. And I'm not sure all of them are still in Congress. I know that Elliot Engel, although he's on the opposite side of my beliefs, we have very strong shared interest in Israel and all the values associated with it. So I never took him. He goes there a lot anyway. And Brad Sherman and Ted Deutsch. And the only problem with them, they're Democrats. But nobody can be perfect. All the time.
Right.
So I told that to Chuck Schumer. I said, you gave a very good talk, Chuck. Too bad you're still a Democrat. For people who are rabidly partisan, like he and I, it's we had some interesting talks. Again, in 5 years, you're going to have an organization that is really, really going to be big. You'll be the closest organization there is to really say how many of the Israeli Americans live here in the United States. Now, of course, I've said it in jest within the last couple of days, but they all want to have absentee ballots. And I've discussed it with Bibi a number of times. Why can't your foreigners, even not your foreigners, people who just are out of town at the time, you know, people are out of town for a family business out of Israel, they're entitled to vote and they can have absentee ballots. But he says it'll never pass through the opposition, because they're saying that most of the people, although I've heard a lot of applause for a lot of liberal positions that have been touched upon in the last few days, from what I hear in the crowd, the applause represents about 25% of the people, or a third. It's good. I'm very glad that there is a partisan. When I saw Tony Cardenas speak in the prior panel, I think it's wonderful to have bipartisanship here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sheldon. You're right. There is many Israeli Americans in America. We estimate the number to be 1 million. That's include the people that came from Israel, even if they came from Iran through Israel or Russia, came here and their kids. In fact, you yourself, you have 4 kids that are Israeli Americans, Sivan and Yasmin and Matan and Adam. So, and your grandkids are also Israeli Americans. So we are growing, the numbers are exploding, and we are going to be a very, very important part of the Jewish community.
I could tell my daughters to have more kids.
Well, you can tell, but I'm not sure that this is something you can tell.
I don't have anything to do with it.
Exactly. Let me, Sheldon, let me go to the last question. And
I'm sorry, I got to change the word tell. I can ask.
You can ask.
Because no matter what I say to them, they don't listen anyway.
Exactly. You can say it will make you...
They tell me what to do.
I would say it will make me very happy if, and then maybe it's going to work, because they're going to make you happy.
Forget about that.
Okay. Sheldon, what about the IAC make you most proud?
I think what Sean and you and Shoam have done.
And the rest of the team.
Well, I'm in touch with the 3 of you, and I think that you've done a fabulous job. Listen, I've set up almost or more than, I can't really remember an accurate count, businesses. And I haven't had 3 people in any of my businesses that so passionately and so completely and professionally set up the organization like you guys did. And Sean has done a wonderful job, and you've taken over as chairman, and you've even improved upon everything. You know, I don't know how you make your money or where you get it, but you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job spending it.
Yeah, I'm doing good things with the money, that's for sure. Whether I'm making more or less is another question.
Well, but you you ought to be proud of yourself because you guys have done, and the rest of your board have done a wonderful job. The passion you put into this effort, it's become a part of your lives. And I'm proud to be associated with the guys that can get this, say they'll do the job and actually get the job done.
Thank you. Please give a stand ovation for Sheldon and Dr. Miriam Ederson. You can sit.
Thank you.
I would like to finalize this fabulous kenes in just a few words, and the future will be great. So, Chaverim Yekarim, what an incredible few days. Thank you for being here at the ISC National Conference, all the 2,100 of you for helping us. Thank you for helping us to make history. Over the past 3 days, we have seen the remarkable energy and excitement of our growing movement. We have seen Israeli Americans come together like never before. And the question is, why? What happened? Well, the truth is, what I see and what I hear is the ISC was able to brand the Israeli-American identity. It's the identity that we are proud Americans. Our home is in America, but our homeland as part of the Jewish people will always be at the State of Israel. This identity, which all feel at home with, really gave us a sense of purpose. We finally understand we're not going back to Israel. We're not sure if we're staying here. We're not sure if we're Israelis. We're not sure if we're American. We're Israeli Americans. We are proud about our identity. And once we have an identity, we feel empowered to make a difference, to feel a statement, to be a strategic asset for the State of Israel from here. This organization today, it started from up to the bottom. We had a vision, all the board of us, we had a vision, and we established the organization, we implemented, we explained our vision to people nationwide. But now I believe everyone understands the mission, everyone feels part of this family. Now it became a bottom-up. We are right now a grassroots movement, an army of activists, an army of volunteers, and really the sky is the limit for this organization and this movement. We have sent a strong message that Israeli American community and Jewish American community are one. They are stronger if they work united. Let's take this momentum from this conference and build it on. Let's grow together exponentially. Over the next year, we will work hard to make our community even stronger and even more unified. I hope that all of you and thousands more will come back for the ISC National Conference in 2017. And clearly, we will need to move to the Convention Center to host the 4,000 attendees. Thank you, Sheldon, for your vision. Until then, we will continue advancing the ISC vision. We will grow horizontally all over the United States, all over our networks, and to see a strong and resilient and interconnected Jewish people and the State of Israel. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Thank you, Sheldon.